Okay, sorry about that. I guess I was muted. I'm going to do a quick overview of what we discussed today during periods 6, 7, and 8. I had some recording issues that did not allow me to get it to work. So we started off talking about kind of what the expectation would be when you come into the course to see a daily agenda, very similar to what you would have seen last year in one of your social studies classes, with the date, learning goals, and the course overview. Today in class, we talked about expectations, procedures, course overview, and then we did an exit ticket. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. A lot of students are still struggling with the schedule, and I understand that. Please make sure that you refer to this and make sure that you have your alarm set up in your iPad to remind you of when your class periods are. That was something that was given as guidance last week. Monday and Wednesday, you have periods 1, 2, 3, 4. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you have periods 5, 6, 7, 8. So make sure you have those in your iPad recorded, because teachers want to see you in the live sessions. They want you in the live sessions as much as you can, okay? Our 8th grade history course is a little bit different than 7th grade because we cover U.S. history more or less in chronological order, which means from beginning to end. And I don't mean we cover all of it, but we're not going to be bouncing around from different dates and go from like the 1700s to 2000s. We stay pretty much between the 1600s and the 1800s and go in order with a few exceptions, okay? So topic-wise, we're going to start off with geography. So Thursday for our live sessions, we started geography assignment about how landforms and different geographical features affected settlement. We have 2 standards with that. One that will be kind of ongoing about how the country grows in size, and then the other will be the one we start tomorrow, okay? We talk about colonies. We don't spend a ton of time on colonies because, I'll be honest with you, it's not the most exciting topic of the year, but it is a meaningful topic to understand why European nations competed for land here in North America. We will talk about that in great detail and talk about how that transitions into the American Revolution. Something you had a little bit of exposure to in elementary school, but we're going to go into more detail. Why do the colonies declare independence from Britain? What happens during the course of that war for independence? How do we win the war for independence? And then what happens as a result, okay? We kind of segue because obviously the 2020 election would not come next in order, but we will talk about the 2020 presidential election because we are in an election year and there's a lot going on with that. And as I said to the students in class live, the goal of what we do is not talk about personal politics about the candidates, but it's more about how does the election work? What is the electoral college? What is an electoral college map? What does the popular vote mean? Because I want you on election night to be able to understand exactly what is being discussed on TV when they talk about the election, okay? We do have 2 standards on government, the beginnings of government, how it got started, what it looks like today with the different branches of government, how it functions, what rights you have as Americans, the Constitution, Bill of Rights. We're going to go through all that. Early presidencies, we focus a lot on George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, those first 5 presidents. The early part of the country's history, the struggles they had, especially George Washington being the first president without really any guide to go by of what the presidency should look like. We talk about the War of 1812 and what happens after it. America has a great new sense of pride and patriotism because of the war, which is also with Britain, and what that looks like in terms of the big picture moving forward. We'll talk about the presidency of Andrew Jackson and what that looks like. He was a unique president because he did not come from wealth and privilege. He had a very controversial presidency because some of the decisions he made, but he was beloved by many and also hated by many. So it's one of those kind of polarizing figures. Excuse me. We'll talk about manifest destiny, which is westward expansion, and how that plays a role in the development of the country, what role slavery plays in that. Also with the interactions with Native Americans and other countries. Manifest destiny is about growing the size of the nation and how that may conflict with other countries. And then we end the year with 3 standards on the Civil War. What that looks like in terms of the, what causes the war. It's not a single cause or a single event or person. It's multiple events, multiple topics that bring together conflicts between regions of the country, North and South, that ultimately leads to the split. What that means, what happens during the war that leads to Union victory, and what's the aftermath. And then what Reconstruction is. When the country's trying to salvage things back together, they're trying to promote more rights for African Americans, including voting rights, and what happens ultimately that prevents that from fully happening, okay? So that gives you an overview of what we talk about during the course, and obviously when we introduce this new standard, I will spend a lot of time on that, okay? I showed the kids in class just a sample of what I would start the year with. Is just kind of like a gauge your understanding. One thing you don't have to worry about here is, memorization of states and capitals is not going to be emphasized. It's more or less about the big ideas of how geography affects where we live, okay? Armor code is obviously something that a lot of you are familiar with. I'm not going to go over that in great detail because you already know that, but that is something that we are going to be emphasizing as a school. But my expectations are that you respect each other in the online setting, that you bring to the table and a motivation to speak and to share opinions in this online setting. I don't want to be the one talking the whole time in the online settings. I want you to be someone that feels like you can share an opinion. Responsibility, the big thing is to make sure that you are turning in your work on time, making sure that you are following a daily procedure of checking in Canvas, and I'll show you again what that looks like, and understanding, to stay on top of assignments, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're going to get behind, okay? Transition year, this is a big year for a lot of you, obviously, because, you may be thinking about next year with high school. That's obviously a big transition, and my goal is to help you with those skills that you will need at the next level, okay? I want to show you a couple things in the parent letter that I sent out that I want to emphasize. And that, again, is that Skyward is going to be used for grades, official grades. So if something's missing in Skyward, it's because I have not received it. The Canvas gradebook may not update automatically as well. I would not go by that. I would go by what's in Skyward, okay? You have 2 categories in the Canvas calendar, or excuse me, in Skyward. Classwork, homework is worth 30% of your grade. Assessments and projects are worth 70% of your grade. And assessments during this online period are going to be something that doesn't look traditional. It's going to be something where I can assess your knowledge, and it doesn't have to be a traditional looking test. It could be a project. It could be an assignment, a writing assignment. There's a variety of ways to do that, okay? The last thing I'm going to do is I want to remind you of what you need to do before we meet on Thursday. And this is about the exit ticket. Okay, so when you go to the course page and you click on my course, you would scroll down to Tuesday, August 18th, and we had our live sessions today, periods 6, 7, and 8. If you weren't able to join us for the live sessions, what you need to do is you need to scroll down to Wednesday, because we do not meet live. We have a work day. And you need to click on the link for the exit ticket. So let's say you're in period 7 and you weren't able to join us live. You'll click period 7, and what you have is your exit ticket is like a personal information form. It will just take you a couple minutes, gives me more information about who you are, your interest outside of class, because I know in this virtual setting it's more difficult, for students and teachers to get to know each other and kind of build a community, but I want to do that. So that's what your exit ticket is that you need to get done before Thursday, because our live session is not until Thursday, all right? Thursday, when you go there, you're going to click on your class period, and it's going to take you to a page. Your live session links are going to be in here from now on. So the link on the previous page is not just going to take you to Microsoft Teams. It's going to take you here. You'll have your link, and this goes over what we're going to be doing today with the assignment, and then the assignment itself. You need to make sure that you tune in on Thursday, because Thursday with the assignment, you're going to need the information in the live session to help you with completing the assignment, okay? If you have any issues, if you have any concerns between now and Thursday about what to do, please let me know. Again, your exit ticket for today is under tomorrow's workday. You just click on the button and it will take you to the link, all right? Thank you. Have a good day.